hello everybody. Happy Saturday. Happy winter storm day, I guess. So I thought I'd give you a couple updates on what to expect over the next day or so. Around this time tomorrow, things will start wrapping up, so we have about 24 hours to deal with. This is the current radar across the southeast, so Charlotte's right here. So we're in this very light bluish color. You might say, well, it's not raining out. If you go outside, there's a few sprinkles around. Very, very light precipitation is basically falling into really dry air, so then it just evaporates and disappears before it gets to the ground level. I was actually just in Rock Hill across the border, and it was raining pretty decently there. So actually some wet snowflakes mixing in. So there is precipitation close by, and that will slowly creep northward as the day wears on. So don't be surprised in the next couple of hours for it to actually start raining here a little bit in Charlotte. You can see a huge area of rain and moisture back here across Mississippi and Alabama, and all of that is moving our direction. And that's going to arrive tonight into tomorrow morning, and that's going to be the big event when that gets here. So again, here's the setup. So this is current. So there's a big area of high pressure to our north. That's very cold air, and the flow around it is like this. It flows around it in a circle. Basically, as this cold air comes around, it hits into the mountains and gets stuck and blocked, so it can't go over them. So it just goes southward, and so that's what's starting to happen. So you see these little arrows. So that means the air is starting to come out of the north, and it's bringing that colder, drier air into our area. And then right along the Gulf Coast now is this big area of low pressure, and that's starting to throw all that moisture that you saw up there in Mississippi and Alabama. And this thing's basically just going to track along the Gulf Coast and throw that moisture over the cold air that this high pressure is bringing in. So that's the current setup. So that's what we're looking at right now. So current temperatures, it's 45 degrees in Charlotte. The dew point's 30. The key there is the dew point. It measures how dry the air is. The lower that number is, the drier the air is. You can see just to our north, it's 25 degrees, and you go up into Virginia, it's 19, 15 up here, and all that drier is coming our direction. So what that does is drier comes in and rain falls into it. As it evaporates, it causes the air to get colder. So that's what will lower our temperature dramatically tonight as the rain picks up and as drier moves in. I thought I'd show you temperatures. This is kind of current right now. It's about 44 degrees out. So we'll be around 44, 45 degrees, but you'll see what happens. So this is around 5 p.m., still in the low 40s. But by around 7 p.m. tonight, we're down to around 40 degrees. Then watch how quickly the temperature starts to drop through the overnight. And by the time we get to about 1 a.m., the temperature's already down to 34. And by the time we're at like 2 and 3 a.m., now we're down near freezing. It just keeps dropping through the overnight. And by the time you wake up at like 7, 8 in the morning, we're down into the upper 20s. So it's going to be really messy when all that precipitation moves over us. And everybody keeps asking me, how much are we going to get? How much are we going to get? So I thought I'd go through a couple things and let you decide how much you're going to get. It's easier that way. That way you can't blame me. You can only blame yourself, right? So this shows you one model. This is the coldest and snowiest of the models. It shows mostly just snow across our area, a distinct rain snow line that sets up. And it keeps it as snow most of the time here in Charlotte, which me personally, I don't think is going to happen. But, I mean, it is an option, so it's worth showing. And when you look at the totals that this model generates, it's very substantial. So this were, if it were to fall as all snow, you see Charlotte would easily get like a foot of snow, something like that. But that assumes all snow, and that seems, as I look at more of this data, less and less likely. It's still an option, but it's a pretty small option, I would say. Here's what I would consider the warmest option. So this is the least amount of snow, the most amount of ice. So it looks like this model has it mixing. Here's Charlotte, rain and snow kind of mixed. Somewhere around like 10 or 11 o'clock tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if people start by even 8 or 9 saying snow starting to mix in with the rain and eventually becoming more snow than rain. And as the night wears on, though, you see this quickly changes it to basically ice across our area. These oranges and purples are just sleet. You can see huge amounts of ice moving across our area overnight. So if this happens, we would get maybe this much snow, an inch or two, and then we'll get a whole bunch of ice on top of that. So personally, I'm not sure what's worse, getting a foot of snow or an inch or two of snow and then all this ice on top of it. So we're definitely going to get something frozen. It's really kind of up in the air as to who's going to see what. And honestly, just where you are in the county is going to make a really, really big difference. And I'll show you just a couple more graphics. This is our high resolution model. So these can only be run kind of in the really short term. And these do a really good job of events as they're kind of happening. So this shows you that band of light precipitation moving across our area around 5 p.m. tonight. But you'll see it kind of stays with us until around Again, this is about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. It has snow and sleet mixing in across the Charlotte area around 10 p.m. By 11, pretty widespread snow and sleet. And by around midnight to 1 a.m., again, just snow and sleet all over the place. More snow than sleet, though, so you'll see it kind of gets rid of some of the sleet for a little while. So it was mostly snow over us. But again, notice the difference. If you live down in Pineville and Valentine, it wouldn't even be snowing, it would be sleet. You live like in the middle of the city, it's like a snow and sleet mix. And you go up to Huntersville and it's all snow. So that's where the problem with this storm is going to be. And then you see it just keeps shifting back and forth. I mean, if you look at that, it's very complicated. The snow and sleet line is dividing Mecklenburg County. So this is why this storm is very complicated. So if I click up here near Huntersville, you can just step through this really quickly and just show you the difference. So when you look, again, I showed this yesterday, here's the freezing line. So if you're left of this line somewhere over here, it's below freezing. And if you're over here to the right, it's above. So this is up in the clouds, so it's below freezing, below freezing. It gets close to freezing, but it stays below all the way down to the ground. So that's why it would be snow in that area near Huntersville. But then if you click like near Pineville down here, you'll see the difference. So this model predicts warm air to come in above us. And so what you get then is, again, it's below freezing, but then it gets right to freezing. It's slightly above freezing this whole distance down here by like half a degree. So that's enough to melt the snowflakes. But then it gets back below freezing again, so they refreeze into sleet, and then you get ice falling from the sky. And that's going to be the big difference here. So I know everybody keeps asking me how much snow we're going to get, but it's much more complicated than that. It's how much snow and sleet are we going to get. And then towards the tail end of this, if you watch this high res, so it's going back and forth between snow and sleet across the county. And then eventually it turns into pretty much all sleet for us. This is sometime around 10 in the morning, 11 a.m., something like that. And just sleeting, and then it maybe winds up with a little bit of light snow at the end, but mostly sleet all the way till about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. Then it may actually change over to some rain, is what it's looking like. So if I go back and show you the temperatures, again, this shows you temperatures across our area dropping overnight, and then they bottom out. The coldest it looks like it's going to be is right around 7 a.m. 7 to 8 a.m. It's going to be only in the upper 20s is what it's looking like. So it's going to be a mess. The roads will be covered in snow and sleet, and especially if ice is falling, it's going to be really difficult. For several hours, you can see this is around 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11, around noon, it's still right at freezing. And then by 1 or 2 in the afternoon, you see we get right around freezing, a little bit above freezing. So then the freezing rain, if it's falling, will kind of end and it'll just transition to plain old rain, is what it's looking like. 2 more graphics to show you. So this shows you, again, a bunch of different computer models. These are the short range models. Again, here's the average snowfall for Charlotte, for the airport. And it's about 3 or 4 inches. You can see some of these are up near 6 or 7. Some of them are down around 1 or 2. But again, this doesn't take into account the sleet and the freezing rain. This is just snow. So I'm leaning more towards kind of the middle part of the county, seeing 2, 3, 4 inches of snow and then getting a ton of sleet on top of that. The southern parts of our county near Pineville, Valentine may not get much snow at all, and it might just be mostly sleet and freezing rain. If, for example, you go up to Morganton, just to show you the difference, notice 12 inches is their average, with some of these up to 17, 18. So just north of Charlotte could easily see a foot and a half of snow. But once you get down around the southern part of the Beltway, it's looking a lot less snowy. So this is the European model. I showed this yesterday. This was the snowiest of them all, but this one definitely looks like it's coming more into line with what the other models are saying. So if I zoom in on this, you can see the breakdown. This is why it's so tricky. Notice Pineville, Valentine, southern and eastern parts of Mecklenburg, an inch or 2 of snow. But where I live over here in northern Lake Wylie, the airport near Belmont, maybe 6 inches of snow and ice. But then you get up to Huntersville, 8, the University 8, Huntersville 10, 11, something like that. That's a distinct possibility. So you can see there is such a divide across our area. So do not be surprised if you live kind of in central Mecklenburg and south. You wake up and it's mostly just sleet and ice falling, and there's not a whole lot of snow. But it'll be interesting to see tonight when it starts, when it transitions to snow. The sooner it turns to snow, the more snow we will get. The sooner it changes over to sleet in the morning hours, the less snow we'll get. So I know that's not what people want to hear. They want a definitive number, but you can see the numbers just like I can and make the same conclusions that I can, that it's going to be a wide range. You're going to see people posting on social media, hey, I got 8 inches snow at my house, and somebody else is going to be like, man, I just got ice. I'm really disappointed. So Anyway, be safe. It's going to be a mess. After about 11, 12 o'clock tonight, when temperatures start getting down near freezing, if you're out to a Christmas party or something like that, be careful. Tomorrow morning is going to be a mess. I would not go out and about tomorrow. Temperature's going to be below freezing. Tons of precipitation's falling in some kind of form. So be safe out there. I'll try to give you another update maybe later tonight when I get home. I myself is going to a Christmas party, so be safe out there. Enjoy whatever winter weather we can. So anyway, happy Saturday. I'll see you all later.